Hey guys, welcome to Unplugged Performance. Today we're going to be installing our UP Invincible front bumper on this Cybertruck.
To start, we're going to remove the front assembly. Using a plastic pry tool, remove the following covers as well as the upper cowling from the vehicle. Using a 10mm socket, remove the following bolts to disconnect the front trunk assembly from the vehicle. Next, pull away at the two bump stops on either side of the front assembly. Before removing the front assembly from the vehicle, be sure to disconnect all the power cables. Next, you're going to remove all the push clips that are securing the fender liner to the vehicle. Using a 10mm socket, remove the following bolt on either side of the bumper. Next, disconnect all of the bus connectors on the front passenger side of the vehicle behind the fender liner as shown, including the speaker wire, camera assembly, and water jet. Next, pull off the factory tow hook covers, followed by the front quick release housing mechanism. Using a 10mm socket, remove the following bolts. Once all bolts securing the bumper to the vehicle have been removed, you can pull the bumper away from the vehicle. Next, be sure to disconnect power from the Bluetooth sensor, and using a T25 Torx bit, remove the Bluetooth sensor from the vehicle. Using a 10mm socket, proceed to remove the following plastic accessories. Using a 10mm end wrench, remove the bolt securing this plastic cowling to the vehicle. Using a pry tool, disconnect all of the plastic clips. Now that you have the bumper removed from the vehicle, using a pry tool, proceed to remove all of the bus connectors that are mounted to the factory bumper so that they may be transferred over to the Unplugged Invincible front bumper. Next, using a T20 Torx bit, remove the camera housing. Once done, using a T8 Torx bit, remove the bolt securing the camera to the camera housing. Using a pry tool, continue to disassemble the camera housing and remove it from the vehicle. Be sure to disconnect any power cables associated with it and guide it out very carefully. Next, proceed to remove the water jet using a T8 Torx bit. Next, using a T25 Torx bit, remove the 3 bolts securing the factory front speaker to the factory front bumper. Next, remove all 4 bolts on either side of the vehicle connecting the factory front tow hook to the vehicle. Using a T8 Torx bit, secure the factory camera to the provided housing. Using a T8 Torx bit, secure the water jet to the provided camera housing. Using a T10 Torx bit, secure the camera housing to the bumper assembly. Using a 4mm Allen key, fasten the provided bolts to secure the Bluetooth sensor to the provided sensor housing. Next, using a T10, secure the provided housing to the bumper. Next, you can begin to transfer over the bus connector assemblies from the old bumper to the provided UP Invincible bumper. Be sure to do this in a similar orientation as they were removed from the factory bumper. Using a 3mm Allen key and an 8mm socket, secure the factory front speaker to the provided UP Invincible speaker bracket, while also using the provided washers and spacer. Using a 4mm Allen key, secure the provided UP Invincible speaker bracket to the front bumper. Using a 10mm socket, secure the fender liner brackets on either side of the bumper to the provided UP Invincible bumper. Using a 10mm socket, secure the elbow brackets that hold the grille in place. Note that the upper brackets are shorter and the lower brackets are longer in length. Be sure to apply final torque after the grille has been installed. Next, using a 4mm Allen key, secure the provided grille to the bumper. Once all 4mm Allen bolts have been secured and torqued properly, you can proceed on the back side of the bumper to secure and torque those 10mm nuts holding the brackets to the bumper. Using a 5mm Allen key, secure 4 bolts and lock washers to each one of the D-ring shackle mounts on the bottom side of the bumper. There's one on either side. Using a 5mm Allen key, fasten 9 bolts to secure the splash guard to the UP Invincible front bumper. Be sure to avoid final torque until this has been mounted on the vehicle. We found it to be advantageous to loosen some of the factory wiring harness that supplies power to the camera, so that when you are installing the UP Invincible bumper with the camera housing pre-installed, you have enough slack to not damage the cable. Next, prepare the factory power tap for lighting. When wiring floodlights into the factory power tap, you'll want to splice in the following cables. First, you'll start by using the provided 3-cable pigtail and securing it to the factory power tap accordingly. Keep in mind this does not use LIN control, so you will leave the green cable coming out of the provided pigtail open and unconnected to the circuit. If you're looking for more complicated auxiliary lighting alternatives, the green LIN cable allows for further control options should you seek further control options through auxiliary lighting. Once splicing is completed, be sure to protect any exposed cable using electrical tape. Next, using a 15mm socket and factory bolts, secure both front bumper mounts to the vehicle accordingly. Next, transfer the front bumper and accessories onto the front bumper mounts. Be sure to do this carefully as the front cable assembly associated with the water jet and camera is subject to damage. If you're using auxiliary lighting, be sure to route the cables accordingly. Using the provided splitter, plug in the now spliced pigtail into the auxiliary lighting port options. Be sure to test lighting prior to proceeding with install to ensure that everything is working properly. Next, proceed to reconnect all of the bus connectors, including the speaker wire as well as the water jet line. Using a 10mm socket, secure the left and right bracket onto the crash beam for the latch release housing. Next, using a 19mm socket, fasten bolts, washers, and nuts to secure the front bumper mounts to the front bumper. In order to ensure front bumper mount alignment, be sure to use the following shims on either side of the front bumper mounts to compensate for any tolerances. Next, be sure to install all 4 spacers that go between the splash guard and the bottom of the vehicle. Note that the longer spacers go to the outside and the shorter spacers are inboard. Using a 4mm Allen key, secure the rear side of the splash guard to the vehicle. Next, using 2 19mm ratcheting end wrenches, apply final torque to the front bumper mounts. Next, using a 4mm Allen key, apply final torque to all bolts securing the splash guard to the front bumper. Next, using 1 bolt and washer per slot, re-secure the factory fender liner to the Unplugged Performance Invincible front bumper. Next, proceed to re-secure the front latch release housing to the vehicle in the same orientation it was removed from the vehicle. Next, if applicable, be sure to secure any excess accessory wiring prior to reinstalling the front. Next, reinstall the front trunk assembly in the same orientation as it was removed. Once that's complete, you're all set. Congratulations! You've just installed your UP Invincible front bumper on your Cybertruck.